The cardinal sin of modern fitness is its willful ignorance about the fact that not all exercise is for health. You do not feel heroic doing radio taiso or slow jogging, but you feel great afterwards and remain capable for other things in your life. Hi, I got a comment from my Buy Me a Coffee member Andreas, who told me about a well-known strongman Pa O'Dwyer, who died at a tender young age of 41. Andreas told me a little bit about Pa O'Dwyer's training and made me think again about the general confusion we have between health and fitness and how the ancient Greeks had it all neatly figured out. What we have today is so dumb. I can't believe this is the 21st century and that we've had this thing called science for a while. So in this episode, we are going to take a historical tour and peek into how the ancient Greeks have treated exercise and how far behind we are. This video is based on 3 articles published on my website, always a good source of information. This is, by the way, also where I post the videos of season 2 1 week in advance of YouTube. Today, I'm not going to even pretend that this is not a lecture, so buckle up for the ride. Part 1. Gym culture and the arte gymnastica. Why not all exercise is for health? One of the earliest books on exercise and physical therapy is Girolamo Mercuriale's 1569 De Arte Gymnastica. In it, Mercuriale revisits ancient Greeks' writings on physical health. From it, a picture of exercise emerges, not as much of a spectacle or self-punishment, but as medicine. The Greeks understood physical training as a preventative care. Exercise was there to keep the body functioning, not to test how much damage it could survive. Gymnasia were places for developing the body and the mind. Hear that, meatheads? What makes Mercuriale's work especially relevant today is how clearly he categorizes exercise. He distinguishes between legitimate exercise intended for health and medical purposes, military exercise aimed at being ready for war, and athletic and dangerous exercise which is competitive. Our modern, or rather postmodern times could use with that distinction. Much of what is marketed today as health and fitness would, by Mercuriale's standards, fall squarely into the military or athletic and dangerous categories. Marathons, extreme endurance events, and high-impact training are not health practices in the preventative sense. They are stress tests. Mercuriale also emphasized factors we now largely ignore: season, age, diet, and sleep. Exercise was never one size fits all and never divorced from recovery or context. Ancient gymnasia had no machines and no lycra. If you wanted to lift something heavy, you lifted something heavy. Movement was simple, varied, and limited by reality rather than Instagram-fueled ambition. We do not need to copy the rules of ancient gymnasia because, sure, homosexuality doesn't have to be compulsory. However, we would do well to recover the clarity of purpose. What? Oh yeah, the intro. Hi, I'm Pavel. I'm an anthropologist turned fitness YouTuber who's quietly setting fire to some of the fitness industry's worst nonsense, because I would really like to watch it burn to the ground. Most people treat fitness like a short project. That is why in 10 years' time they wake up with less choice. They lose the ability to get up from the floor, to travel comfortably, to play with their kids or grandkids, and often end up reliant on meds or expensive and ineffectual procedures. My course is designed to stop that slow narrowing of choices. It gives short, sensible routines you can easily fold into your daily life, plus a community that keeps you honest. If you want to keep your future options open, join the beta. Early members get direct feedback and priority access to future materials. Back to our regular programming. Part 2. Is CrossFit a legitimate exercise? Using the ancient Greeks framework, CrossFit is not hard to place. It's built around intensity, time pressure, standardization, and comparison. These are about performance, not health. The structure encourages urgency and limit pushing. That alone disqualifies it as legitimate exercise in Mercurialis' sense. At its best, CrossFit can build confidence and broad physical capacity, especially in people coming from inactivity. But the system does not encourage de-escalation. Progress is defined as more load, more speed, more volume, more tolerance for discomfort, more everything, faster and now. That logic is military. The ancient Greek equivalent would be running or swimming in full armor. Useful if you are preparing for war. Longevity is not the goal in that context. Effectiveness under stress is. CrossFit's injury profile is not, pun intended, an accident. It emerges from a specific combination of factors: complex movements performed under fatigue and time pressure, repeated session after session. It is a structural problem. It's not a bug, it's a feature. The CrossFit culture doesn't ask, will it make me more capable in 10 years? Its implicit question is, can I survive this today? Competitive CrossFit, besides being military by definition, also belongs in the athletic and dangerous category. CrossFit is often defended as scalable. This is true in theory but weak in practice. Scaling does not change the incentives. The structure still rewards urgency, comparison, and doing slightly more than you should, slightly more often than you should. When training meant for defending civilization is sold as routine health maintenance, people pay the price. Part 3. On ego and training for the wrong war. How modern fitness confused health with hardship. The cardinal sin of modern fitness is its willful ignorance about the fact that not all exercise is for health. But there is a subtle, unspoken, and perfidious assumption that underwrites this sin, that hardship is virtue. Today, this double idiocy reigns supreme. Once you see Mercurialis and ancient Greeks' distinction between legitimate military and athletic exercise, it becomes hard to unsee how much of today's fitness culture lives outside the pro-health category while pretending to be in it. CrossFit is one example. Spartan races make the point even more clearly. In ancient Greece, if your city-state was besieged, the price of defeat for every adult male was death, while slavery was in store for your wife and children. It makes so much sense to train hard when the stakes are this high and accept the risk of injury, exhaustion, and a shortened life. Today, that kind of threat is gone. For most of us. But the training remains. Obstacle races are openly modeled on military training, crawling under wires, carrying heavy objects while exhausted, running through mud, performing tasks under time pressure. None of this is ambiguous. This is not about health. It is about proving something. And this is where ego enters the picture. Ego and the story about being a real man crafted by the industry.
Nobody's gonna my wife better than me. Okay?
The pointless suffering becomes virtue. If it hurts, you must be doing something important. That's the story. I guess the only problem with it is that it is not true. It's a false belief system in which exercise designed for extraordinary circumstances is rebranded as everyday self-care. Legitimate exercise is boring by comparison. You do not feel heroic doing radio taiso or slow jogging, but you feel great afterwards and remain capable for other things in your life. Modern fitness culture struggles with moderation. Ego does not scale down gracefully. It does not age gracefully. You can reduce the load or the distance, but you cannot easily remove the underlying incentive to do more, faster, harder, and now. The structural message is that comfort is for weaklings, while wisdom and restraints are for cowards. This doesn't mean that hard things are meaningless. Training for hardship can be valuable. Seneca, a distant relative, a successful Roman statesman and businessman, spent some days sleeping on the hard floor and eating stale bread, just to remind himself that things are going to be all right even if he were to lose it all. His approach was more philosophical, but even competitions can be fun. Testing your limits can be edifying. Maybe it can even give you a Satori moment. But it is a mistake to pretend that these goals have anything to do with health. When exercise meant for war or competition is sold to us as preventative medicine and health, there will be casualties. Few people stop to question it because it requires stepping out of their current frame of reference. To anyone who broke out of this matrix and reached similar conclusions, congrats. I know it could not have been easy, and you might have even lost friends over it. So to conclude, if you want to train like a warrior, fine, but you should at least be honest about the war you are fighting. And if your goal is a long, capable life, then most of what passes for fitness today is simply the wrong tool for the job. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.